Hello, God bless you, and welcome to the Joyful Jazz Show. I'm your host, Dr. Alvin McKinney, also known as the Prime Minister of Joyful Jazz. And we're here today to let you know that God loves you, and so do we. And our special guest today is Mr. Brent Fischer. But before we bring it on, a quick word of prayer. Gracious, blessed divine Heavenly Father, holy Lord God Almighty, Lord, this day we give you honor, we give you glory, and we give you praise. Lord, we thank you once again for the opportunity to bring love, light, inspiration, and motivation into the lives of our listeners. Thank you, Father, for just being who you are. In Yeshua's name, amen. In case you're just tuning in, you are listening to the Joyful Jazz Show, and we are recording live from Los Angeles, California, from Roscoe's Media Center. And on board today, Brother Laurent. Thank you, Brother Laurent. We appreciate you. Now, before we bring up Mr. Brent Fischer, we're going to play one of his tracks from his CD entitled Pacific Jazz. This track is called Cherokee. Hope that you enjoy it. Once again, that was Cherokee, a beautiful rendition from the Clare Fischer Big Band. Once again, our guest today is Mr. Brent Fischer. So having said that, Mr. Brent Fischer, welcome to the Joyful Jazz Show.
Thank you very much. It's an honor to be here.
It's an honor to have you, sir.
Thank you.
I just want to, wow. I have to calm my musician self down just so I can talk to you. I was just telling, for my listeners, I was just telling Brent earlier that I grew up playing Sammy Nestico, Duke Ellington, Count Basie charts. So I can appreciate the depth and the integrity of the music that you've written and have performed and executed.
Thank you.
Now, just for my regular listeners, I want to inform them, just before we go further. Normally I talk about spiritual things, but out of respect for Mr. Brent Fischer's request, he does not talk regarding religion, politics, or personal life. But we are going to have a wonderful show today. But having said that, Brent, please share with me, how did you first of all get started in music?
I didn't even know there was something else to do besides music. My father was a professional musician.
And Dr. Clare.
Yes, I'm part of a almost 90-year continuum here that started
no kidding.
In the early 30s when my father taught himself how to play piano and was reading scores by Bartók and Stravinsky by the time he was 9 years old. And
no kidding.
Listening to Duke Ellington and Billy Strayhorn and transcribing Lee Konitz solos.
Oh, my goodness.
All this stuff. And so I grew up in a household that was surrounded by music. My earliest memories are of lying underneath my dad's grand piano with our dog.
Okay.
And he was just writing. That's my earliest memory. And so I didn't even go to career fair in high school. I just naturally assumed, because all my dad's friends were musicians, that that's what you did when you grew up.
Right.
And so I did that. I picked up drums first, and I got into electric bass. He saw my abilities proceed at a rate that he decided to hire me as his regular bass player for his Latin jazz group, starting in 1980 when I was 15. And then from then on, it was a 32-year journey of working side by side together. First as his assistant in many facets of production, all the orchestral arrangements that he did for so many different artists, from Paul McCartney to Prince to Diane Shure and Tony Braxton, all these people, the Jackson 5, Santana, over all those years, being at these sessions. First assisting him, then becoming his manager after a while. Then I became his co-writer for a lot of orchestral work that we did for Prince, and then later on for people like Kirk Franklin and Tony Braxton, and then finally ended up being his ghostwriter towards the end of his life, when he wanted to just leave some projects to me and just take the things that he was really that really struck him, and now I carry on in the Fischer tradition, the two hallmarks of the writing that I absorb from him. One is an unusual sense of orchestration, where you use some of the lesser known, or maybe even not very well known at all, instruments that they're actually all over the world, but you just don't see them that often in big bands or even in orchestras. But they give unique sonic coloring to an orchestration. And then the other hallmark of Fischer writing is an extensive harmonic vocabulary, which I liken to like a gifted writer who uses just the right word for the right occasion to give that subtle shade of meaning that would otherwise be absent. And you may have to go look up that word in the dictionary, or you may remember it from learning it in high school vocabulary or something. May not be a word that you use all the time, but still it's there. It's part of the English language, and this writer has used it in a brilliant way. And that's what I liken the techniques that I picked up from my father to.
That's amazing. Tell me more about your writing technique. And this is what I'm getting at.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I'm not thinking of his name right now, but if I mention to you some of the work that he's done, movie soundtracks for like Batman, I cannot think of his name, but I went to one of his orchestration courses.
Okay.
And he mentioned using 3 trombones and 3 tenor trombones and a bass trombone to get the power.
Yeah.
And what he's looking for as far as expression of music. You are using more than that. First of all, you start with a big band, and then you add strings, and then you add additional instruments that are not necessarily considered traditional.
Right.
Maybe euphonium,
Contrabass trombone.
Contrabass wow. Okay.
And contrabass saxophone.
Right.
And sopranino saxophone. That's the smallest member of the
Right,
family.
right.
That's the little brother of the soprano sax.
The baby sax.
Yeah, the baby brother.
Now,
Yeah.
for those that are watching, Kenny G plays on soprano sax. And that's about maybe close to 2 feet long, and there's one even shorter and smaller than that one. And so that's called a sopranino saxophone.
Yeah.
All right. You mentioned that you played bass. I'd like to play a snippet from one of your videos.
Okay.
Is that all right?
Sure.
This track is called Auditory Hallucinations. Features Mr. Brent Fischer on the electric bass. Once again, that was the Auditory Hallucinations, featuring our guest today on bass, Mr. Brent Fischer. Now, Brother Brent, you not only play bass, you also play piano. I was listening to one of the videos, and you are a prolific pianist as well. I was listening to that. That's a very tasty solo, man.
Oh no, I think you were listening to my father. Actually, I play enough piano to compose at, but I wouldn't
Okay.
consider I would consider myself a reasonably good piano player. But I feel much more comfortable on either bass, vibraphone, marimba,
Okay.
any
All
of
right.
those other instruments. Yeah, yeah. But thank you.
All right.
Yeah, I try.
So now, give me sort of the history of how you began to learn all these instruments.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing that happened was I started assembling Tinker Toy boxes when I was 3 years old, and I would assemble them and ascend, from the smallest to the largest, and
Okay.
and take the Tinker Toys and start pounding on them to music that was either playing or that my parents had put on. And my father got me a drum set when I was 5 years old, and at first I just banged around on it, and then one of his friends was over, a professional drummer, and he sat down at the drum set and played a beat.
Right.
And that's when something,
Clicked
in my head and said, aha, that's what they've been doing.
Oh, wonderful.
And so I started, learning albums at that point. And then I was interested in that for a long time, but something was missing, and that was pitch and harmony.
Oh, very important.
Because you've got rhythm with the
Right,
drums,
right,
but you're
right.
missing the melody and the harmony. And so I just happened to get interested in the bass, I think because there was one around at the house, and I picked it up, and then he saw that I was, getting very interested in it. I broke this bone when I was in what we used to call junior high, now called middle school.
Right, right.
But I had these 3 fingers free. I was all casted up, but I had these 3 fingers free.
Okay.
And that's when I started really picking up the bass. And after the cast came off, I just kind of stuck with it. I sanded off a nice portion of the body of the bass with my cast. And we had to redo the body of the bass a little later. Yeah, so that continued, and it just so happened that my father had need for a new bass player by the time I was 15, and saw that I was getting I was understanding what he was doing in Latin jazz, which part of that entails unlearning what you have learned as an American musician to see music how people in other countries perceive it and understand it, so that you can groove along with them. And it's been my pleasure in my life to play with many different groups from many different countries, many different styles of music, and to be the only American person in the group because they actually trusted me to groove along with them. And so part of that was learning Afro-Cuban and Brazilian music at an early age, and playing with my father's group, and then now continuing that on. I still direct all of the Clare Fischer bands, including the Latin Jazz group, the big band, the Clare Fischer Clarinet Choir. We have a vocal group. We have an extra large group called the Jazz Corps. Now that's CORPS, as in Drum and Bugle Corps, only it's a jazz drum and bugle corps. It's got 30 brass instruments in it.
That's a lot of power.
Well, actually 30 pieces,
Right.
including brass, woodwinds, and rhythm section.
Awesome.
And so all those bands are still continue to perform, and when I can, in between my writing, arranging, and producing duties.
All right.
Yeah.
Now, earlier from the video, you were sharing that you actually assembled that bass. Can you share a little bit about that?
Yeah, it's a detachable instrument. It's got detachable body parts, which makes it very easy to travel with if you're a touring musician. And it's also very lightweight, which saved me a lot of money on chiropractor bills over the years. And the other thing I really like about it is it's shaped like, once you put the body parts on, it's shaped like a normal bass, so I can sit down and play it. Like, I can almost play it, I have transcribed and rearranged Bach violin sonatas for electric bass.
No kidding.
And so it can have a very classical sound, this instrument, too. The body parts are actually hollow, so they act as resonating chambers. It's a semi-acoustic instrument. I can practice without an amplifier if I want.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, I really love it. And it's got a great sound that engineers love, and I can play it with a pick and make it sound really aggressive, and I can also play it with my fingers and make it sound almost like a fretless bass if I want to. And
Right.
it's a wide range of possibilities available to me.
How much does that bass weigh? Excuse me.
The 4-string version, which you saw in the video, weighs 4 pounds.
4 pounds.
I have a 6-string version too, with extended fretboard on it.
Right.
So I can cover 2/3 of the range of the piano on my one 6-string electric bass, and that weighs 5 pounds. Now, a normal 4-string bass
Yes.
weighs probably 12 to 15 pounds.
That's amazing.
And I don't even get me started on how much a normal 6-string weighs. They're just, I mean, that's great for big guys who have big shoulders.
Right.
Incidentally, which is what my dad was. I got my mother's body type. He was, like a football player type.
Okay.
So he had the big shoulders. But I just, have a small frame, and having that lightweight bass has just been a, real joy for me.
That's amazing. I have an affinity for bass players because I was on the road for 5 years of my life. Toured all over about 25 states, something like that, and plus Canada. And we went through about 5 bass players and 6 drummers over that period of time.
Wow.
And so, and I think maybe three guitar players.
Wow.
So I have a deep level of appreciation for your instrument that you're talking about.
Oh, there's one thing I like about the electric bass, which is it's come in really handy to me as a band leader and a director. When I need to conduct, for instance, a lot of times keyboard players who have to direct, they have to be able to either play something with just their left hand only so they can cue band members,
Right.
or maybe lay out for a bar or two so they can conduct. But me, I can play bass with one hand for a short period of time.
Right.
Just simply by pressing my finger against the fret, I can still get a sound. So I don't really need my right hand all the time, which makes it available to cue players.
That's amazing.
And to give directions to any sort of orchestra or band that I might be working with.
All right. Once again, that was Mr. Brent Fischer. We're going to take a short commercial break from our sponsors, Pitbull Energy Drinks, and we'll be right back.
Are you a diabetic? Need some energy? Need to quench your thirst? Try Pitbull Sugar-Free Energy Drink, the only energy drink named suitable for diabetics by the American Diabetic Association. And it's now available with no calories, no carbs, no sugar, and no fat, and a smooth, natural blend of energy, vitamins, and minerals. Need to quench your thirst? Try Pitbull Sugar-Free Energy Drink, the only energy drink named suitable for diabetics by the American Diabetic Association. And it's now available with no calories, no carbs, no sugar, and no fat, and a smooth, natural blend of energy, vitamins, and minerals. Pitbull Sugar-Free Energy Drink is the healthiest, best-tasting energy drink around. For more information and online ordering with free shipping, please visit hiphopbev.com. Remember, Pitbull Sugar-Free Energy Drink, suitable for diabetics, great for everyone.
All right, we're back. Once again, you are listening to the Joyful Jazz Show, and I'm your host, Dr. Alvin McKinney, also known as the Prime Minister of Joyful Jazz, and we are recording live from Los Angeles, California, from RMC Studios. And our special guest today is Mr. Brent Fischer. And before we bring him back, we're now going to play once again from the CD Pacific Jazz, track number 3, and it's called Cottontail, written by the world-renowned Duke Ellington, but now also arranged by Dr. Clare Fischer. Hope that you enjoy it. That was Cottontail, written by the late, great Duke Ellington, from the CD entitled Pacific Jazz, by the Clare Fischer Big Band, directed by Brent Fischer. Now, the reason, Brother Brent, I wanted to play that song was because I read somewhere that your father knew that Duke Ellington was coming into the room somewhere. You can fill in the blanks.
Yeah. He was warming up at a studio to
Okay.
do a recording session, and Duke Ellington apparently was recording in one of the other rooms.
Uh-huh.
And he walked in,
Right.
and when my dad knew that Duke Ellington was in the room there, he started playing a medley of all his favorite Duke songs, with all his favorite twists and turns, and all these great things that he does
Yeah.
with that material. And Duke sat and listened to the whole thing, and then he came up to my father after it was done, and he put his hand on his shoulder and he said, "Now that's the way my music was meant to be played."
Say that one more time in case they missed it.
That's the way my music was meant to be played.
This is Duke Ellington telling his father, Dr. Clare Fischer, that's the way my music
Was meant
to be played. I've only heard that comment similar once before, and it came from the ambassador of jazz, Dizzy Gillespie,
Right.
who spoke to Charlie Yardbird Parker and said, that's how music ought to sound.
Yeah.
So when you hear someone of that caliber, a master of his own love of art, music, or anything, and you get a compliment like that, it has to change your whole world.
Oh, that's the reason why I remember that story so well. I was only about 6 or 7 when he came home and told me, but he was so excited when he got home. And and I was privileged in that we got to go see Duke Ellington perform with his band right here in Los Angeles at the Hollywood Palladium in 1971, right before he unfortunately passed away. So that was the one and only time I ever got to see him live in my life. But I know my dad saw him many times, and one thing I remember about him that night, even myself, only being about 7 or 8 years old at the time, I just remember not only just enjoying the band, but watching my dad's reaction when he was hearing the band. Because we Fishers have the ability to perceive a lot that's going on in music. The average listener, hearing is kind of the least developed sense, I would say. People can go around, you can look and you say, that's purple, that's green, that's blue.
Right.
But can you hear something and say, that's 2 trombones, a tenor sax, and a flugelhorn, and they're playing a B-flat major 7 chord with a raised 11th? And we can do that.
Right.
And so I knew back then what he was soaking in as he was listening to that music.
That was truly a gift.
Yeah.
If I may just humbly say, on behalf of your father, you're doing a wonderful job.
Thank you very much.
As a matter of fact, please forgive me. I wanted to do this today, but I'm so excited that you're here, and there's so much more information that's in my head. I wanted to dedicate this show today to your father, the late, great Dr. Clare Fischer. I want to thank you, sir, for blessing us with your son, but also for the entire legacy.
Yeah.
This is generations of music, and the best of the best. Not just the Count Basses of the world, the Duke Ellingtons of the world. I'm thinking Rob McConnell and the Big Boss Brass Band.
Good friend of my dad. Yeah.
Long time since I said this name, Toshiki Akiyoshi and the Luther Tobacan Big Band.
Yeah.
I had the honor of performing 95 and 96 with the late, great Louis Bellson, and trading floors with the now late, great, as of a week or so ago, Clark Terry.
Sure.
Just music of the time, masters of their instrument, masters of music. So your music is right there, the best of the best. And
Thank you.
And I'm honored to have you here.
It's my aim to respect and honor all the history that has preceded us, and to carry that forward into the future.
Amen. I want to skip ahead a little bit right now. Actually, we're right on schedule. That's wonderful.
Okay.
I want to play track 11 from your CD Pacific Jazz, featuring your father. This track is called "I Loves You, Porgy," from the American composer George Gershwin. You're going to love this track. I just want to breathe and just appreciate that beautiful rendition of I Loves You, Porgy, from the late, great Dr. Clare Fischer. Brother Brent, please share with us, as you would share with me during the song, about that particular sound or patch.
Yeah, this is sound that we developed in the late, probably mid-'80s, that became the Clare Fischer signature sound, and it was a sound that he used for the rest of his life. And originally started out with just a standard digital keyboard that had some Fender Rhodes patches on it, and then he modified those a little bit to his liking, but there was still something that was not quite there for him. One of the reasons he prefers electric instruments over, say, he had a grand piano, and he was capable of really getting into it when when he felt the occasion was right. But he preferred electric instruments because they have a longer sustain and a longer time until the tone decays. When you play a note on an acoustic piano or on an acoustic bass, for that matter, it's also the reason why he prefers electric bass, is because you get longer sustain.
Yes.
It enables the listener to perceive more of what's going on with the harmonic textures. And so he asked me to create a secondary sound, which didn't have any attack to it, but it would sort of fade in as he was holding a chord. So I designed that on a synthesizer module for him, so that it would have a little bit of reverb on it, and this fat, beautiful sound, this fat warmth that would just fade in with infinite sustain, until he released the sustain pedal. It would continue to be there long after the Fender Rhodes sound had sort of decayed away. And that became his signature sound, and it's on just about every album except for the albums that have solo, have him playing solo grand piano.
Now, I think we call that layering. Is that right? Or is that layering, or is it a different technique?
I just created that one sound. Other than that, I'm not really a technician or an engineer.
That's all right.
Yeah.
I love the sound. I love how it spoke and allowed him to speak.
Yes.
And he not only just played the instrument, he used everything that you just described to help him express what he wanted to say.
Well, and I guess that is a good way to refer to his layering, because he actually had a separate volume pedal on his instrument where he could raise or lower how much of that warm pad was present in relationship to the Fender Rhodes sound.
Yeah.
So he had lots of options.
I wish we had time. I'd like to play it again.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it when I get in my car. But God bless you, Dr. Fischer, just for your genius, for sharing your gift to the world, and I'm also your son.
Thank you.
Some of the artists that you had the opportunity to work with, you mentioned Al Jarreau, Michael Jackson. By the way, speaking of Al Jarreau, that particular keyboard patch reminds me of one of his ballads. I can't think of the name right now.
Oh, yeah.
But I don't know if he did any work or if he did any work with Al Jarreau using that particular patch, but it reminds me of that.
I don't think so, no. But
okay.
Yeah, we did I did an arrangement for Al Jarreau's Christmas album.
Okay.
And it was for a song that had been arranged, many, many times. Lots of great arrangements of that song, but it had never been done a Christmas song in Brazilian feel.
Okay.
And so I decided to do this "Have Yourself a Merry Little Christmas."
Very nice.
As bossa.
Okay. All right.
With a nice tribute to Baden Powell's guitar comping style. The great Brazilian guitarist.
Yeah.
And that starts out at the beginning, and also they were wondering if we could do something different than have a string orchestra for the background. So I decided on a clarinet choir instead.
Okay.
And so I used a family of clarinets from the B-flat
How many
clarinet on down to six in total.
Okay. All right.
A couple of them doubled on flutes, but we had B-flat clarinets, alto, bass, and contrabass clarinet.
Very nice.
And so it gave a nice, warm orchestral sound, but completely different from a string orchestra.
Most definitely.
Yeah.
I want to hear that.
I love to do stuff like that.
I want to hear that. I'm already hearing it in my head. What was it like to work with people like D'Angelo, Prince, Michael Jackson, Elvis Costello, and the Roots?
Yeah, each one of them has been a great experience. A lot of times. An artist or their producer will be present at the recording session. So it's nice you get some immediate feedback that they're enjoying what you're doing. That happened with Eric Benet. He was at the sessions that I arranged for him.
Okay.
And then there are other times, like in the case of Prince. Actually, we started working for Prince way back in 1986, and he was supposed to be there at that first orchestral session that we were going to do for him, which was going to go on the Parade album and the Under the Cherry Moon movie. And he couldn't make it, but he was so pleased with the results once he heard the orchestra tracks that he called us up and he said, if I had been there, maybe things would have turned out a little bit differently. So I'm never going to show up for any of the recording sessions. And that's the way it's been for all. The one and only time I've ever met Prince was when I was playing in the orchestra that my father and I arranged for his performance at the 2004 Grammys with Beyonce. It was the opening. He had a medley of his and Beyonce's songs that opened the 2004 Grammy Awards show. It was the one and only time I have ever met Prince after more than 20 years working for him.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and then in the case of Elvis Costello and the Roots, they were in New York because they were working on the Jimmy Fallon show.
Right.
But the VP of the record company set up a Skype link, so they could actually listen to us as it was happening here in Los Angeles. They could listen in New York, and that was also great too, because my engineer told me that while I was in there conducting the orchestra and very intensely concentrating, make sure everything was exactly right, they were just listening there and they were dancing around in the background. And I read a great interview Questlove gave. He said at that point they became fans of their own music because they were hearing something that this was something that was added to their music that they hadn't come up with. Up until that point, everything that they had put on the album had been completely their own. Now here was something that I was adding.
That's awesome.
And then he said at that point we became fans of the record instead of the creators of the record. And I thought that's a great way to look at it. And that's why I love collaborating with all different artists from all different genres.
That's amazing. Brother Brent, I want to play from your Grammy Award-winning CD now entitled Ritmo. We're going to play track 1.
Okay.
I think it's called San Francisco PM.
Yes.
Any short words about that?
Featuring Poncho Sanchez on percussion. He was a great friend of my father's. He worked in my father's Latin jazz group. Actually, my father got Poncho Sanchez his first recording contract as a solo artist way back, in the 80s. And this was a song that was originally, my father wrote it sort of in honor of his great friend Cal Jader, who he worked with for many, many years, also with Poncho Sanchez.
All right.
And it also has Alex Acuna and Steve Kahn.
All right. Once again, San Francisco PM. Hope that you enjoyed it from the CD, the Grammy Award-winning CD, Ritmo. Once again, that was San Francisco PM from the Grammy Award-winning CD, Ritmo. Brother Brent?
Yes, sir.
First of all, congratulations on your Grammy.
Thank you.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Your father was nominated 11 times?
Actually, now he's been nominated 13 times.
13 times.
And won 3 times.
And won 3 times. So you have 3 Grammys in the family.
I've been able to secure 2 Grammys for him since he passed away. And then he had a previous Grammy. And that was actually the first album I ever worked on. That was kind of a good way to start my career. The first album I ever made with my father won a Grammy in 1981 for Best Latin Recording. So that was his first.
To all of our Grammy friends, we need to talk. Kirk Whalum, 11 nominations before he got his first Grammy.
Yep.
And another dear friend, Gerald Albright, still waiting to get his first one.
Yeah.
So we need to boost the process, people.
It just really depends on what the other releases are that year. You know, sometimes it's not necessarily about the quality of the album. It's the question of how many other really, really great albums got released that year. So
I can appreciate that. I'm sure there's a lot involved.
Sure.
But for the people that kind of just that are waiting for the end result, and I happen to know some of these wonderful, fine, very gifted people, so I'm supporting them as well as myself. One day, by God's grace, if I'm lucky, if it be God's will, I'll get a Grammy. That's what I'm working on.
Great.
Brother Brent, you mentioned earlier that your father had the opportunity to work with the late great ambassador of jazz, Dizzy Gillespie.
Yes.
Please share with that.
Yeah, he wrote all the arrangements for Dizzy Gillespie's Portrait of Duke Ellington album.
Awesome.
And it was really interesting the way that came out, because it was one of the first big album arranging jobs he did, decades ago. It was either in the late 50s or early 60s. And so he was relatively unknown at that time. Mm-hmm. And in the liner notes in that album, there is this glowing review of the album. Unfortunately, the person who wrote the liner notes thought that it was actually Dizzy Gillespie that wrote all the arrangements. And so he was talking about how Dizzy Gillespie has created a new sound for himself. He's got this, amazing collection now of songs, and just gushing about how wonderful all the arrangements were, but never once mentioned Clare Fischer's name. And so I believe his name was even left off of the first pressing of the LP. Now it was added on to subsequent pressings. But that was an unfortunate incident, but it's all been corrected now, and it's official on the internet and everything. All the arrangements are by Clare Fischer, Dizzy Gillespie's Portrait of Duke Ellington. It's a fantastic album. My father doesn't actually play on it. Mm-hmm. I'm sorry, I can't remember. It's an all-star. It's an all-star group that Dizzy put together. But my father did write all those arrangements, and it's a wonderful album.
Wonderful. Next question. Tell me about your affiliation with all of the alphabets in the music industry, the National Academy for Recording Arts and Sciences, and all of the others.
Yes, sure. I've been a longtime member of the Recording Academy. Those are the people who give out the Grammys, mm-hmm. but also do many other things. Like there's currently some political action on the Hill on Washington to have people who get digital downloads, who buy digital downloads, be able to obtain the credits. Mm-hmm. So you don't just be able to hear the music, but you can also get a PDF telling you who the musicians were, who performed. Just like it was when you bought an LP or a CD.
Yes.
You could look on the credits, see who played on there, see who engineered, see who produced. And so it's a wonderful organization. I'm also a proud member, going on 35 years now, of the American Federation of Musicians, and my local here in Los Angeles, Local 47.
Very good.
And I'm also a member of the American Society of Music Arrangers and Composers, ASMAC, and that's a great organization too. They've got a treasure trove of historical information about all these great composers from the distant past right on up to the present.
Wonderful, wonderful. Now, what is LARAS, L-A-R-A-S?
Oh, that is the Latin Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences. Now, there's NARAS, which is the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences. So those are the people who give out the Grammys. The Latin Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences gives out the Latin Grammy Awards, of which I have been nominated once.
Well, congratulations.
I haven't won. I haven't won there yet. So I'm still waiting in that area too. But yes, so LARAS is the Latin Grammy Association, and they are like a sister organization to the National Academy of Recording Arts and Sciences, but specifically for Latin-oriented music.
Awesome. Now, Ritmo, to my understanding, correct me if I'm wrong, is the first big band arrangement of Latin music.
No,
help me say that correctly.
Well, I believe it's one of the only albums out there by a big band which traditionally, for the most part, has played swing, funk, R&B.
Right.
This one is sort of all-encompassing Latin jazz. So it's not just the Cuban stuff or the Brazilian stuff. It's a little bit of each.
Wonderful.
There's some Latin rock in there. So it's really got a lot of different genres covered within the Latin idiom.
All right.
And that was part of my plan in putting it together, was that it would sort of be all-encompassing and not focus on one genre only.
Wonderful. Well, I'll tell you what. Since you graciously agreed to come back, I want to play that CD when you return. Is that all right?
That would be great.
2 last questions. Please share with us your affiliation with the Planetary Society.
Yes, people ask me all the time, if you weren't a musician, what would you be doing? And I always answer, I'd probably be working for NASA or for Jet Propulsion Laboratories or something like that. I've always had an interest in astronomy. I would love to be one of the first tourists to go up to a space station or to the moon one day. I feel that it's our place as a civilization, just as we spread out to all corners of the world now to move off into the universe, and but hopefully in a way that will now that we're learning how to take care of our planet and do it in a proper way,
Yes.
that we'll also be able to colonize outer space, and it's another way of ensuring the continuity of the human civilization. Right, and we've got time to do it. I believe it's going to be 5 billion years before the sun blows up and engulfs the planet Earth, and the solar system essentially will be gone at that point, and it will then create the cosmic dust that would create another solar system, lead to the birth of another solar system after that. So we have a long time to get off the planet Earth, but I firmly believe that eventually, one of these centuries, we should be looking into doing that. And that's why I'm affiliated with the Planetary Society. They advocate for space research, space travel, and all things in outer space that can aid society here on Earth. I mean, a lot of people don't even realize inventions that we use, like the cell phone, a lot of medical technology was invented through research on our space station. And so it's been a real boon to mankind.
Wow.
To have that with us, and so that's my other interest besides music.
Well, that's a great interest. Actually, we have a similar divine calling. I'll put it that way.
Okay.
And I'll tell you what mine is. Eventually, in the beginning, my show started out with just by featuring Christian artists.
Okay.
But then the Lord told me to open it to not just Christian artists, but all faiths of light. Bring us together. Start a conversation, unite us, and then attack all the works of evil together.
Yes.
Musically, harmonically, spiritually, and through frequencies.
Great.
So, through the healing of the 528 hertz, I'll put it that way. So
right.
That's another time, another conversation.
Absolutely.
But lastly, Brother Brent, where can people follow you, find out about your tours, and even purchase your music?
Yes, the first place to go would be clarefischer.com.
Clarefischer.com.
That's C-L-A-R-E. There's no I in Clare because it's the masculine form of the word. And then
Okay.
Fischer is F-I-S-C-H-E-R.
One more time, please.
CLAREFISCHER.com.
Clarefischer.com.
Yeah,
All right.
and you can order CDs. You can order print music. If you have a band that wants to play some of our charts, we have everything available. But we also have our CDs available in all the other standard places: iTunes, Amazon, CD Baby, all the streaming music services, and hopefully we have a pretty good. I know we have a pretty good presence on the radio because I'm in touch with quite a lot of DJs around the country who play us on their local jazz stations, and some of them are syndicated nationally. And so yeah, we've just had a great run with our latest album, Pacific Jazz. We got up into the top 20 on the jazz charts at one point when the album was first released.
Well, you certainly have my support, and by next year I will be a voting member for NARAS, just so you know.
Oh, congratulations!
Thank you. I was one vote short, one track short, but I'll be there next year.
All right.
And so you have my vote. I'm gonna tell you right now.
Great, thank you.
As a matter of fact, I have some work for you. So let me get my budget together. I have a perfect song for you that I wrote out of classical tradition that requires strings and things. I already have it in my head.
I love it.
I've tracked it. I just need to get it now at this level, and we'll get there.
Looking forward to it.
Brother Brent, I want to thank you once again for being such a wonderful guest on the Joyful Jazz Show.
Thank you.
And I look forward to bringing you back.
Thank you for all you do for jazz.
My pleasure. Once again, ladies and gentlemen, that was Mr. Brent Fischer, honoring today the legacy of the Fischer family and Dr. Clare. I'm going to send this song out to my dad today, Carl McKinney. This song is called Son of a Dad, who's also a keyboard player in Memphis, Tennessee. Love you, Dad. Hope that you enjoy this track. Once again, from the CD Pacific Jazz by the Clare Fischer Big Band, and the producer is Mr. Brent Fischer. Just know that we love you here at RMC. Look forward to seeing you next week. God bless and peace.